Nice.
Okay, now do it.
Yeah, now do it.
Oh, it's husband, man. Where's the bears?
Oh God, no! We're not sponsored by them.
Eggs.
With these
And vanilla Coke Zero.
And the Strella beer.
And BNBNs.
Wow.
Oh man, I haven't seen them for
Dairy milk
years.
buttons.
Spicy noodle. What, they're all showing off the stuff. I'm joining in. Spicy noodle. Sucks. Not sponsored.
Anyway, I'm huffing the paint. It stinks. That smell the paint.
Smell my paint.
Smell my paint.
What the
We've all
fuck
been
is
there before,
happening?
haven't we?
Oh, yeah, what is...
Paint.
No.
Look what your film's done to us.
Sorry.
The start of the call was a bit of a blowout.
Blowing out proportions.
That did the title card.
God.
Be quiet.
You be quiet.
This is going to be fun.
Give me your noodle.
Well, I'm glad we're all in a lively mood.
Lively.
We're all Blake Lively.
I've never felt more awkward in my life. And I've had some pretty strong contenders.
You all right, Pat?
I dropped a catch.
Oh, you playing Madden?
Yeah, I was in the middle of a game by the time the call started, so I'm finishing it while we're
What's your
chatting.
name, Ben?
Oh,
Ben.
I
What
just
game you
watched
playing?
Next week, like 10 minutes ago, so I've timed it well.
Was that Emmanuel?
What game you playing?
I'm only playing Madden.
Oh, Madden. Cool.
Yeah.
He's only playing Madden.
Madam Mim.
Okay.
You actually seen the
Oh, why?
Rugby 2022?
What?
There's a rugby game, Rugby 2022. The new one.
That's apparently really bad. Rob,
All right,
why
then.
did you pick your film?
Oh, for a few reasons, really. Like, it's hard to talk about Blowout without talking about Brian De Palma a little bit first, because like
It's hard to talk about Blowout without talking about pot noodles and Jaffa
and Madden
cakes.
and Grizzly
Madden.
Bears and
Hot noodle.
and Vanilla Coke Zero.
I said pot noodle.
Yeah, no, like, so Brian De Palma. So I think when I first heard of Brian De Palma, it would have been like when I was really young, and I think it was because there's so many references to Scarface in like just generally in hip hop. So I think like just from a young age, just from like listening to hip hop, it was always a film that I was aware of. And then I got a DVD of it when I was like 12 or 13. And like, if you've seen Scarface, it's just like loads of violence for the sake of being violent. So as somebody who's, well, as like a boy who's like 12 or 13, I was like, man, this is amazing. And I think I told you guys before, like what I used to do is I used to like look out for directors, and I used to go to Blockbusters and read the back of DVD cases to see if I could find like other films that were directed by people that like, so like in this case, I'd seen Scarface, took note of Brian De Palma, and then I'd go to Blockbusters and look for other films by him. And I think the next one I saw was Carrie, and then maybe like Raising Cain, and then Carlito's Way. And yeah, I didn't see Blowout until probably a couple of years ago, but I think it's probably my favorite Brian De Palma film. I think it's kind of like a coin toss between Blowout and Carrie, but I think if you were to like make me swear an oath, I'd probably pick Blowout, because I think it's like I just really I like films that reward you for thinking about them, and I think that's what Blowout is. I think like on the surface, like a lot can be lost pretty easily, but if you're willing to kind of sit down and think about kind of like what he was trying to do, it gets a lot more interesting. So it's a little bit like the Fisher King in that way, I suppose. But yeah, I just think Brian De Palma's a really interesting character. Like I was saying the other day, I think he's he's a little bit like Forrest Gump, because whenever something important happens in film, like he seems to be there. Like he even helped George Lucas write the story for Star Wars, and like he was around when like Steven Spielberg was making Indiana Jones, and when Martin Scorsese was making Goodfellas, and like all of this like random stuff, like he was in the background for. But while all that was going on, he was kind of there just like working on like really random stuff for no other reason than that's what he wanted to do. And I really like that. So like you always kind of hear him sort of like lumped in with like Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese and like all of these like massive names. But like he's a bit of an outcast, because although he's part of that group, he's always just been doing his own thing. And I really like that about him as well. So yeah, I just really wanted to pick a Brian De Palma film, and I think this is probably my favorite of his.
Very well said. It's
Well
one of
said,
my new
Rob.
favorites. Yeah, I think it is one of my new favorites too, to be honest.
I also as well, like another little side part to it is when it came out, Brian De Palma had this kind of reputation for being like a B movie guy, because he'd done things like Carrie and like Dress to Kill and like all of this like just horrible like gory stuff. And I think that first few minutes where it kind of opens on what's it called, Coed Frenzy, rather than the actual film. Like when you're seeing that kind of opening sequence, people who were going to see that film knowing Brian De Palma would have been thinking like this is the actual film. And I thought if I wait long enough to pick this, then people might believe that I've picked a shitty B movie. So I kind of like the idea of you all going, oh right, good, we're not watching that as well.
Yeah, I had that problem when I started. So
I'm
it started up.
Happy films.
It started up, and I was about to text Rob, and I was like, "Am I watching the right film?" Because I was really thrown off by it.
I did have to keep checking it. Like I paused it. And I was like, no, John Lithgow's in this. And there's John Travolta. I'm here. But I think I was just like, oh wow, I've seen. I think it's because it's the Evil Dead point of view shot.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I've already just, I've seen that in this. And I've seen that in Halloween, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, we're doing this again. And then I was like, oh, and here's John Lithgow. And then he looks in the mirror, and I was like, that's not John Lithgow. Hang on a minute. And then like she does like the really shitty scream, and then it comes out, and John Travolta's like, man, that's a load of shit. And I was like, oh, right.
Yeah.
It all makes sense that way.
I love that whole thing, man, because like I said, like because it's a Brian De Palma film and he had that kind of reputation, you can believe that that's the film. And I think that sometimes when you see like the movie within a movie trope, like it's just not at all believable. But I think this is so well done. Like I showed Rachel's dad, and when he was watching it, he sent me a message that was like really weird beginning. I thought maybe it was some noir film and was about to turn it off. Then John Travolta appeared, and I was like, yeah, that's exactly the reaction you should have had.
Old John Travolta appears.
But I just love that whole thing, man, because like it's almost so. This is what I mean by like if you kind of sit down and think about it, you're going to be rewarded, because in that little opening sequence, so you've got like something that people sometimes criticize it for is they say it should have all been one shot rather than there being like him outside, then a cut, and then he's inside. But that's a reference to Halloween, because in the opening shot of Halloween, there's a really subtle cut that most people don't notice. But apparently, like when Brian De Palma saw it, he was like, "That's really obvious. That looks stupid." But it's something that people don't normally see. So he made his version of that, and he made the really obvious cut to like be a satire of that. So it's there's loads of little bits like that, which I love about it.
I think there's a good sequence as well, like just as it ends. Just because I was like going like, fucking hell, this is shit. And then to have the characters all go, fucking hell, this is shit. I was like, yeah, it is. And it was like, yeah, we're all on planet Earth.
I just love the scream, man, because when I first saw it, like, I mean, as you know, I'm quite happy to sit and watch a shitty slasher film. So like when this was going on, I was like, I'm fine with this. Like this is okay if this is the whole thing. And then it gets like the bit that really makes me laugh is when you get to the shower and it's obvious that he's going into the shower, but there's a huge sign that says shower. and then he goes into the door, and then when she's like just stood there washing herself, and then she looks at him, and you get that like, ah! I just love that moment, man. It's just such a I was in tears the first time I saw it.
One of the things we was thinking, like Camilla was saying, why is his breathing sound so?
That's
so
really annoying.
they're so off-putting. I was like, yeah, I think it's meant to be off-putting on purpose. But like you were saying, a lot of things were satires. So when it came out into John Travolta, it's like, yeah, all that made sense. And like you said, I also thought, well, I guess this is going to be part of the movie. I've heard nothing about it. Let's see how this goes. Lots of people just naked at uni.
See how John Lithgow's.
You know, a really interesting thing about that shot as well is the camera operator was the guy who invented the Steadicam, and he did this just after working on The Shining with Stanley Kubrick.
Oh yeah, I did notice that. That's fucking cool.
Apparently, the whole thing was like Brian De Palma contacted him, and it is the first time that Brian De Palma had ever used a Steadicam. And he was like, "Oh, I really want you to come and do this for me. So like, when you're done with Stanley Kubrick, let me know, and then come and do this." And apparently, he turned up on set, and Brian De Palma was like explaining the whole thing to him, and he was like, "What the fuck, man? This is terrible." And Brian De Palma was like, "Yeah, no, that's the idea. I want you to be terrible."
Oh man.
There's
But
a very
sorry, man,
effective
go.
opening. No, I was just going to say very effective opening.
Yeah.
And I think even after that as well, so like you have the bit where John Travolta's just sat there going like, "Oh, this is terrible," and then after that you've got like almost like yeah, pretty much like a Back to the Future level exposition where you've got like the news report basically telling you everything that's going on in the world, and then John Travolta's kind of going around his room and he's like organizing everything and that kind of thing. And this is another thing, like if you go back and watch it again and you pay attention to that scene, all of the sound effects that he's kind of sorting and stuff, it basically spells out everything that's going to happen in the film. So I really love that scene as well. And I just think it just looks really cool, like the split screen between the two. I really like the aesthetic of that.
See, that was where I started having trouble because I was sort of like, right, what am I supposed to be focusing on? Because I've got shit auditory skill, so if I've got to listen to her, I can't watch him. Like I need to do one or the other. But
I think it's really effective because it's like you're kind of getting like a snapshot of like as well as the exposition that's going on, you're getting a snapshot of like his working environment of just like kind of doing all of that shit while the TV's on in the background. And then, yeah, like I said, you've basically got like, and it's not something that you'd notice the first time watching it, but you've basically got like a map of the film that you're about to watch. Yeah, I just think that's really cool. Like, yeah, like I was saying before, like it's a film that rewards you for thinking about it, but it's also a film that rewards you for going back and watching it again. And yeah, I love shit like that.
you all right, Ham?
Yeah, I'm just listening.
Did you make him funny faces? Literally having a
I was
flashback.
just feeling my beard.
Oh, cool.
Another thing I noticed when I rewatched it. So you know the scene where John Lithgow goes to change the tire of the one that got shot. So when he opens his boot, he takes the spare tire out, and there's like a packet of magnetic tape erasers in there. And I was like, man, that's so cool, like to think to do that as like a little cue for later on. And another thing I noticed this time, which I didn't notice the first time, is when John Travolta goes into the water, you see the guy with the camera running in the background. It's just like, yeah, there's just so many little things that's like.
I noticed that the first time, to be fair.
I didn't
Yeah,
notice
me
the first time I watched it.
As well.
Well, John predicted it all from the start. So he beat that.
But yeah, it's just there's so many little things like that. Like it's something that I think is in maybe not Mission Impossible, but pretty much every Brian De Palma film is like that sense of like, should I have seen that? Like, am I like clued into something that I shouldn't be yet? And yeah, I really like that stuff. It's almost like a Hitchcock kind of thing, isn't it?
I cannot comment. I've not seen any Hitchcock.
You never seen a Hitchcock film?
I've never seen a Hitchcock.
Oh, wow.
Fuck.
No one needs to pick
All right. Fucking hell.
or North by Northwest or something.
Yeah.
No, dude, you have seen a Hitchcock film. You've seen Rear Window.
Oh, I've seen one Everyone can sit back down.
Oh, oh,
Chill out, everybody. It's okay.
yeah. Because the thing is, the bit when you see the bloke run off, I'm thinking, oh, is that the bloke who's shot, or who's caused the accident?
Yeah.
End up finding out it's actually the filmer.
Yeah, he was involved, but not the shooter.
Yeah.
Because he did look suspicious, and then he just kind of left.
Yeah, and I think that's something else that like I personally find quite exciting about it, to be honest, because I think if you like M. Night Shyamalan has kind of ruined twists in cinema, because like it's always the same thing now of like you go a whole film and then at the end something nonsensical happens just because they want to do a twist at the end. But I think in this there's so many little twists throughout it. It's just really cool because like that, like it kind of sets up an expectation of one thing and then later on it will just go, no, it's something slightly different. And then, yeah, I just think that's really cool. And that's how thrillers should be.
What I like, oh sorry, I was going to say what I like is the fact that the bloke who's causing, like, you know, John Lithgow, his character, he's quite minor, because when he talks to him on the phone, he's like, you're only supposed to do this and you fucked everything, and he's like, but it's caused the same thing. And then his character becomes like, he's kind of in the background, and then he becomes like the antagonist, and it's like it mirrors the start of the film where it becomes a horror film instead of a thriller, because he's the serial killer, and you're like, fuck.
Let's not start with this again. The fine line between a horror and a thriller.
Oh no.
Just like Alien.
Yeah, it's more of a horror.
Yeah, this was definitely not a horror.
Yeah.
But I think that's another thing that's really cool about it, because Brian De Palma has worked on so many horrors prior to this, there's elements of a horror that kind of, yeah, it just like John Lithgow, man, how versatile an actor is he? Like you think, like, have you guys ever seen Raising Cain?
Nah.
No.
Oh man, one day I'll pick it, because like I think you're all gonna hate it, but like John Lithgow in Raising Cain is basically this times 1,000, man. And you just keep looking at him like this guy is like pure evil. Like this is a piece of shit person, but he's also in Harry and the Hendersons. Like,
Yeah.
it's...
But have you ever seen him in Shrek? Because he's really good in that.
Oh yeah, he's the king, isn't he?
Yeah.
Just
or the TV show Third Rock from the Sun.
Yeah.
just so everyone's clear, the last time Rob said everyone will hate it, everyone loved it.
So, yeah, there we go. It's going to be a award winner, that one.
Emmanuel kind of hated it. Oh wait, no, sorry, I was on a different track. Sorry.
But, yeah, no, man. Like Raising Cain is just like it's an experience, man. But yeah, why did you hate it, Emmanuel?
Going straight to me. Oh, okay.
Who had the wrong shoes on?
No.
Who should have commuted?
Female violence. So I don't know. I don't really understand.
Who's got an oil radiator?
Was that it? Was the mutilation not enough?
Yeah, it was done at home. They only said about it. They didn't actually show it happen.
Is that what you were saying, Dan? Oh.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna need Camilla's help to word this, because she words it much better than me. So we both felt quite similar that this film, and I'm sure many people will disagree. That's okay.
I'm sure everyone will disagree.
But it tries to do. It tries to do so many things and be multiple movies in one, but then it doesn't write it well enough to actually achieve that. So you've got, like you said, the premise is set up at after you see the sound guy and stuff. And I thought that was cool. The premise of a sound guy, you find out about his past. And being a sound guy myself, I was just like, I could, yeah, I've done that same thing. I can imagine that and that and that. when he's talking in the beginning.
You caused an undercover cop to die?
No. Right at the beginning when he was talking about the horror crap films he's working with this guy, and it's just a job, and he's just like, and he's just standing there in the bridge at night recording the sound, done the exact same thing. But anyway, yeah, so you get this film, and I was like, okay, it's going somewhere maybe this way, but then so there's different problems. There's lots of little things, and then there's big things. So like you said, I don't mind twists, but it kind of didn't make sense. It felt like when he made the very, I thought, uncharacteristic choice to send the girl in by herself, wired. Bear in mind, this guy's basically got PTSD from when he did it last time. And normally, even back then, if you knew a girl was in danger or something's fishy, you walk her home, you walk with her. And John Travolta's character seemed like a nice guy. He wasn't a dick or something. So I assumed, oh, he's gonna do that. He's gonna go with her. It's gonna be interesting because how is the guy gonna do it when he's there? And he's like, now I'm gonna send you with a wire. So, wait, what? And then, because I thought, okay, the killer in the background doing his stuff, that was all right. But then they had a random, was it like, I'm sure it's not 14 minutes, but it was just a very long section of him like waiting for this sex worker and eventually killing her. And I'm just like,
It was like 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
It was unnecessarily long.
I was like, why is it so long? Why like we were in a, and then it changed into a different movie. And I was just like, wait, what happened to all the people politically involved? You don't get to hear anything about that. Okay, the sex worker that slept with, or the honey trapper that slept with the politician who's dead now. Yes, she had a small win of like knocking the pimp out. But like it changed into this serial killer film. We don't know his motives. We don't know really anything about him. Like we don't even know how he ended up in this kind of small knit political group who weren't thinking of killing him anyway, just actually like putting shame on him in a bad rep so he's out of the run-ins. And suddenly no one wins in the end. And in the end, he ends up using her screen because what else can he do? And it's just like, man, this is messed up.
I love the idea you guys were just watching this and just going like, man, this is bullshit. I don't need 10 minutes to kill a sex worker. Jesus.
Yeah, but it was just one of the things where we were already invested in one film, or trying to anyway. There were lots of just, I'll get to that in a minute. We're invested in this kind of, he's seen as a paranoid kind of political drama. He's trying to prove this. I mean, his reasons and morals, whatever. I mean, I thought he should just ask for some money at the start. But of course, he's not. So that's fine. He shows how morally kind of like good of a guy he is, and that's fine. It's character. But then it just goes, oh, we don't actually care about that no more. We're just going to focus on this serial killer who's just killing it for killing people because, I don't know, maybe he just likes it. Maybe I mean, maybe he just randomly showed up in the original meeting, said something, and they said, no, F off. And then he said it anyway. And they were just like, what? Why? We don't know you. And then it's just like, okay. And then I noticed there's lots of small kind of, I'm sure there's lots of small references and script references to other things throughout the film, but some of them were done kind of awkwardly in a way where I was like, that character wouldn't, it doesn't make sense for them to say this or to do that way or to say this that way. It was lots of little things like that. And eventually at the end, I'm just like,
I know there's only like there's one little bit with the writing where I'm like, yeah, and that's when Sally is in hospital and then Jack's like, oh no, stay here and then I'll come back, and then if you don't stay here, I won't come back. Like that whole thing, I was kind of like, well, I wouldn't like to be either of them in this situation. But other than that, I really like how it's read with the serial killer. So part of the story is meant to be about kind of like the distrust of government and sort of the lengths that they're going to go to bury something. So the whole idea of him going around and killing sex workers is just so that when he kills Sally, that doesn't seem random and it can't be traced back. So it seems like he's going out and targeting that kind of person rather than she was involved in kind of like a government plot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I got that, but the part that ruined all of that and why it felt like some different movies, because I was interested in the political one, or maybe interested in a more kind of
Emmanuel, I've given you a smorgasbord and it wasn't good enough for you.
or maybe interested in more of a mob game perspective, because there's many ways you could have gone with the film. But the politician guy who's obviously in opposition to the one who's dead, he made it very clear that from the get-go they didn't want to do that. So why did you do it anyway? So him covering this up has nothing to do with the group of people who orchestrated the honey trap in the first place. So it doesn't feel like, even though, because we were talking about purpose and we thought it's good to have like things about sex workers, discrimination, political cover-ups and stuff like that in it as like ideas. But then you've got someone who's just this guy who randomly decides to do whatever he wants to do. It doesn't feel like he's covering up on behalf of them. He's doing it because he's using it as an excuse. But we don't even know why he's using it as an excuse. We don't know why he likes killing sex workers.
I don't know why he's connected to them in the first place.
Yeah.
Even that would make more sense if we like understood why he was there, but it's just like a random guy who shows up and starts killing people, and we're meant to be like, okay, yeah, cool, that's the movie we're watching now.
Yes, I guess he's just a man who hates women, and I kind of want Solander in this. Just
well, I think it's a power dynamic thing, to be honest. So I think like obviously they're sort of connected to him because they've needed him in some way for like cover-ups in the past probably. And the way that I read it is like, I mean, obviously this came before, but I think this kind of a sad thing that shows you how long that this kind of stuff has been going on for. But it reminded me a lot of Boris Johnson and Dominic Cummings, because you had like Boris Johnson, who's the politician, but Dominic Cummings, who's like the unelected person behind him, pulling all the strings and like actually guiding policy and that kind of thing. So I think it was a commentary on that kind of thing. That's how I read it.
Commentary way before the situation.
I don't mean a specific commentary on them two, but that's what I mean. Like it shows you how long that kind of thing's been happening for.
yeah.
Palmer's got a crystal ball and he's like 20 years in the future. There's going to be something
like The Simpsons. But yeah, that's the thing. I thought the ideas and the kind of premise and things were cool. I just had problems with how it was all done. That's the problem. Like,
because I had a similar issue, because like I was sort of with this is one of the things where I'm kind of like a little bit not, I could go either way on it, because I really like John Lithgow's character, but him not being connected to that party, and they're like, nah, fuck you, like you're on your own with this, so you don't know us. That's where I was kind of like, oh, so it's just John Lithgow that they're kind of trying to avoid, and it's I don't know, I was just kind of like, I was a little bit like foggy on what the commentary was necessarily, because like if it was all sort of government cover-ups and stuff, I was like, yeah, no, that works. But considering he's just like kind of a lone agent, and it's like, is this the kind of guy who that kind of party kind of attracts and stuff like that? So I'm glad we got to talk about it. That's making more sense. Like he's just this enforcer who's just kind of like, no, we'll definitely get this done for you. I'm going to take this on. Because I guess he's kind of, if he's going to be the reverse of John Travolta's character, he's going to have complete trust in the government, and he's going to work as an agent to keep it as under wraps as he can, even if he's told to fuck off. He's like, no, we've got to keep it running this way. So I guess there is kind of a shade of that.
Also, I was looking forward to either the girl being alive, or if she wasn't alive, him even in his kind of depressed state going, you know what, I'm going to do what I can to get what this girl deserves. And I'm going to take no, crap, never mind, I forgot. The tape got thrown into the river. I was pissed about as well. This whole, never mind. I wanted him to actually be able to take that to the new station, but obviously disappeared. Disappeared and got forgotten about when Damsel in Distress. And sorry, that I liked. Sorry, Damsel in Distress. I have no problem with it when it's okay. In the start of the movie, it was done very well, and then right at the end, it felt like they were shoehorning the scream and the Damsel in Distress trope in.
Oh man, I love the end.
Instead of it feeling natural, it felt shoehorned in, and then this is not a bad thing, but it was really funny. Camilla was just like at the end when John Travolta's holding her, she was like, this reminds me of like some anime or a bad version of Your Name with fireworks going off in the town.
Oh, I think that's a beautiful scene.
Just like,
I can kind of see the anime.
Anyway, yeah. Anyway,
but
it was beautifully shot, that scene though. I think that despite what you've said and what even the bits that Alex said I did think like the dual focus of certain shots was so impeccable to the story, like how he shot certain scenes, like when he's just like recording the sound at the beginning of the movie, when you hear the owl and then you go back to his face and his reaction to it, and he hears that he gets the frog and then he gets the tire blowout. And so I think that was an integral thing to see his emotive reaction at the same time as something that's actually happening in real life. And then they repeat it later on in the film where it just goes back from one thing to another and you see both things at the same time. Because not only is that technically really amazing, it's just really interesting because you as a viewer have a choice of what you want to look at.
Yeah.
I found the diopter stuff really, really effective, like especially in that sequence when he's hearing the owl and then you get the visual of it. But, sorry.
Yeah, no, I love all that stuff. And I was thinking as well, actually, this would have been shot like, because the reason that I started thinking about this was because what I was saying about the Steadicam. And I remember that when the guy who invented the Steadicam was working on The Shining, I saw something ages ago where he said like a challenge of using the Steadicam on that was that it was before reflex lenses were a thing. So what he was seeing wasn't exactly what he was shooting. And then it was also before the days of like digital footage being ready straight away. So he had to kind of like guess what he was shooting. And then later on, he wouldn't see what he'd shot until the day after when it had all been processed. So I was thinking when I was watching this, like obviously it's around the same time, so they couldn't have been using reflex lenses and they would have had the same challenges for the split diopter stuff. So I think that's quite a bold choice to do something like that. So, yeah.
True, it could waste a lot of time and money if not careful. Oh, what?
I just like you're just such a downer on this one. You're just like, no, it was too much like an anime. Fuck you.
Oh, no, I meant that in as a compliment. Like, I
did think that was out of character for you.
Yeah,
it's like Christopher Nolan. Nolan. Using IMAX cameras on a dangerous moving rig and end up breaking one of them. It's just like, yeah, you do something really high risk, it could make an amazing shot, or it could cost you a lot of money. Just like Scorsese in Apocalypse Now and almost bankrupting himself. But
I did have a hard time scoring production on this because like I there were some shots and I was like really impressed with them. And then there were other shots where I was like, why did you fucking do that for? And it was, I don't know. So some of it was sort of like props. So like, injuries just didn't, like, they were done like really badly. Like, when her neck gets cut and stuff, it's very clearly not blood. When she like smashed.
I was confused. Like, sorry. Every time I watched this, I thought about how good it was in Jaws. Sorry, it's just amazing production. But her neck was so bad. I thought she was alive. I was confused when she was dead, and I was like, "Wait, is she actually dead?"
Did he just draw a little red thing there?
It just looked like it was against her neck, but it didn't do nothing. Like she was just passed out, because because that can easily happen.
The production was so bad, Emmanuel thought she was alive. That's a great comment.
To be fair, yeah, that's fair enough. Like that could have been done a lot better. But it's one of those things where, like, because it's only like a second, I'm like, whatever.
But then there were other things, and it was like when she smashes the bottle over his head, and then it goes from being half full to being completely empty, and I was like,
I was looking out for that though. Do you ever see that it's half full?
Yeah, you see a drink from it, and then you can see like the still liquid in it.
I didn't see that when I was watching it.
Yeah, it just all vanishes. But this was the trouble, because I was really immersed when he's like driving through, and it's like the Blues Brothers scene, and like there's just this whole parade going on, and I was like, fucking hell, there's loads of, like, they had to get a ton of extras for this. Like, this is really, really well done. And then they did a thing, and it was like they had the rear projector in the car, and I was like, oh. But there goes my immersion. Like, I was just like, why'd you fucking do that for?
I didn't mind the rear projection thing, because, to be honest, of the time, I thought it was decent. I thought what they did was decent. But me and Camilla were questioning, why did he not brake? Why did he just keep driving?
He is a very, very bad driver, though, because if you see the other rear projector one, he keeps moving the steering wheel, but he's not going anywhere. He keeps going directly forward, but he keeps going like that because he needs to do something with his hands.
Well, since the 30s, to make it more exciting, they just do that.
He just keeps doing it, and I'm like, this is not how you drive, John Ford. I don't know how you think it is, but it's not what you do.
Some Hollywood producers think, oh, that's boring, so you have to make it exciting. It's like, well, make the road more exciting then.
Swerve wildly.
Put some potholes in if you want me to avoid them.
Yeah.
That one that actually that was my small criticism with it, is that realistically when he hears about what's going to happen to her, and he has to rush through the town and the parade and all that, and after he escapes from the ambulance and all that, I think realistically he wouldn't be able to do any of those things, because the police will be on him straight away. So he has this sort of like mad, like almost hysterically, maybe even terroristically attitude to just get through that parade of people. No obstacles.
I'm gonna use that.
Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say, but yeah.
I like it a lot.
Because I was like, I'm not sure if he could do that, but in the end of the film, it didn't really ruin it, anything like that. It just was like a shortcut that they had to do it quickly in an intense way.
I do agree with you. Like, I think it is like it's like what I was saying last week with the Back to the Future stuff. Like, it's something that makes you ask a question that you don't really need to ask. So it maybe would have been better if they did it a different way. But I think it's a lot easier to believe that somebody would have got away with that in the 80s than somebody would have got away with it now.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't have a problem with him like not getting caught immediately, because things, especially in that area, it could be really lax. If there's no important VIPs or whatnot, I mean, they're just being there for the crowd of people. But the fact that they wanted him to be knocked out. I would have rather them do it a different way than what he did. Even if he was running and tripped, even though it would have been like, oh, sorry, dude. It would have been like, he's so desperate. He just sees her, but he trips and falls down the stairs. And then he stops her from looking around and then just keeps going. That would have been great. and then someone will be, you okay? But he's not that for hours. But he's for whatever reason, no one knows why. He's not driving to the station. I don't know where he's driving to, at the next train stop. He drives ended up, not on purpose, a window.
Oh yeah.
He's caused criminal damage.
Yeah.
Of course, he wakes up in an ambulance, but there's no police to be like, hey, you stay in the ambulance. He's caused criminal damage.
Handcuff him to his bloody bed, did they?
Yeah,
handcuffed to the bed would have probably been better. Sorry, Humphrey.
I was gonna say I didn't really get that scene, to be honest. Like in driving through and not getting arrested, I just didn't really see. And then it kind of goes, it pans to the next, like, and it gets dark. I'm like, what the fuck has happened? It just doesn't make any sense. It's just like the world stood still and just the time changed. And then, and it just carried on. I was like, what?
Yeah, for like several hours and he just runs around. Like you've been unconscious for hours, you've just woken up though.
And he gets up and runs past the police again, who don't try and arrest him because he's caused all this problem.
Can't catch me.
Yeah, no, I do think that scene would have been better if he'd perhaps like fallen down some stairs or something. Yeah. But
see that end, that whole like collection of end sequences is kind of where it starts falling down, because like I don't even. Whoa! We've had so many little references, haven't we? We've done Blues Brothers, The Day the Earth Stood Still. Now we've done this. Because I agree with what you said earlier. This is a problem I had with it as well, where when they needed a much better plan for what they were doing, because it's like he says that he is paranoid about like someone coming to kill him, and then he knows that I forget her fucking name. What's her Sally? Sally doesn't want to go on the talk show. And he's like, I'm waiting for the call, but you know, just be careful and stuff. And then she just shows up, and he's like, what the fuck are you doing here? And she's like, oh, the TV guys called me, and I'm gonna come and meet him with you. And then he's like, oh, well, that seems weird because they should have called me. And then he checks the phone, and that's, you know, still like doing the tone and that. But he's like, something feels really, really weird about this. So he's already paranoid. He's already feeling some things a bit off. And then he's like, here's what we'll do, Sally. You go meet him and just trust your own sort of sense of intuition. I know you've got a really, really good sense of intuition. You, madam, have the best intuition of any other person that I know. So you go and just check how that's going to do. I'm going to be in the car. I'm not even going to look through a window. I'm going to have my back to the building while you meet this fucking stranger.
But it's not just that. It's the fact that he's met the bloke and he knows,
wobbly.
and the bloke, he knows the bloke's going to be decent because he's decided to actually give the tape to the bloke. So why would he go, why don't I just like mic you up and then you go and meet him? Right? There's no need for that situation.
Well, shit! Like he can go in himself. He can he can keep it under his coat. He can at least if he's got an eye on her, he at least knows who she's talking to, where she's going. Like, why is he sitting in the car with his back to the whole building? Like, no, it's okay. Sally's renowned for, you know, knowing what people's intentions are.
I don't think that's outside of his character though, because you've at that point he's kind of obsessed to the point where like just it's taken over his life, and then he's got like this opportunity to possibly get it out into the world without ever having any hope before. And then obviously he's a sound man, so like his idea is the security is to wire her up. So yeah, I don't think it's out of his character.
But I can see Emmanuel about to say it. This is the exact same circumstance where he sends someone in with a wire and he can't help them. And it's like, I'm going to now put you in that situation again.
Hasn't learned from any of them.
Yeah, but not even just that. The fact that, and unless this was meant to be cut out and maybe they left it in, who knows? But he knows that the guy says, we need both of you. So why would he turn around and say, we just want one of you?
Yeah.
He said, I want both of you. If it's just you, okay. But ideally, yeah, we want both of you. Why would he turn around and say, because obviously that's why he said something feels weird, but he would want me anyway. So I would think he was gonna go, okay, let's just go together, because he said he wanted me to come anyway.
She thinks she's going to meet the host. So if he's watching, he can go, that's not the host. He's a really good actor. I thought he was the host, and I know what he looks like. But
He's actually met him. She hasn't.
That's not him. Do not, under any circumstances, go down into the underground with him, because he's going to fucking murder you.
Yeah, let's go this way instead and go to the studio. Like, yeah, let's just go to the studio.
That's not him.
If you want to join me, let's go. Since you suddenly decided you want to come and help, let's go. But I don't mind, since you're on board now.
Yeah.
Well, all of a sudden you didn't want to, but now you're helping. Whatever, just come.
Yeah, it doesn't really make any sense that the whole fact of her going on her own. Like when he's suspicious of things and he's like, wait a minute, this don't make sense. It's like you're in your right mind, you'd go, nah, this don't seem right. Let's not do this.
But to be fair, though,
it's not good.
I saw that.
Look, to be fair, though, Dan, you are saying in your right mind, and I think at that point he's obsessed to the point where he's not in his right mind.
I don't know.
I think
it's still a bit dubious.
He is dubious. He just like he doesn't. Yeah, like he doesn't act on it in a reasonable way, which I think is fair enough in that situation.
I don't know. I think I think at that point even Sally would go, Jack, are you sure I'm the best person for this? And he's like, yeah, good point, Ashley. You're a fucking idiot.
To be honest, I can't even put anything on Sally, because she was actually pretty true to her the whole time. Like she everything she did, I was just like, it's kind of annoying, kind of sucky, but it's true to her character. It was just John Travolta, just like, to this point, you weren't really questionable, but now you're questionable.
now it's as suspicious as possible, and my paranoia is at its height. Hey, call our stuff, meet a stranger. I'm not going to watch what you're doing.
No.
If it feels weird, get out.
Get out.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing as well. Like sorry, let me go back. So I was still kind of disappointed. Yes, he's meant to be depressive and stuff, but I thought in her honor he was going to go to the news station anyway. He made a copy of the sound reel, which I forgot about that, before he wired her, and he still has his old copy of the more blurry films, which the news presenter was still going to run with, even before he had the better quality stuff. And he says, look, I still want to do the story, just come. But he didn't do that. And I was just like, but it's like an unsung story. Like, you really cared about this girl and really wanted to protect her and whatnot. And with all this happening, I would assume his character would do something in her honor so that people at least knew she knew she existed, and maybe this happened. But I don't know, maybe, I don't know.
I think there's multiple things he could have done better, like not give her the tape, pretend that he'd given her the tape, but not giving it actually, like it's the whites or something, or at least be in the station somewhere. Like, I get he's probably like quite recognizable, doesn't want to be seen, but like there's white. There are things he could have done that would have been better than what he did. Sorry, Rob.
No, I was just going to say about no, I don't know, actually, it's gone. What were you saying?
Okay.
We're talking about his plan.
I don't know. It might come back to me.
Now I've forgotten what I was going to say. Apparently John Travolta had insomnia for a lot of this.
Another link to one of Pat's films from this.
Oh,
Shit, we're in
and-
so deep. We're like so many layers of we're like 88 film picks in. Man, we can't not have a sentence without.
female lead was in RoboCop.
Oh,
Yes,
actually,
that's true.
Oh, one more reference.
Ooh.
You nearly got it, Rob. It's all right.
Oh, sorry. What were you gonna say?
No, go
no,
on.
no, go for it, man. Go for
It
it.
sucked.
We were saying at the end when the news report came on, which made absolutely no sense. The stab
make
moves
sense.
were in the wrong place, in the wrong angle for the girl to have done it, and then Camilla was just like 12 Angry Men.
there is a genuine tie with one of Pat's films from this, actually. So the reason that John Travolta was cast in Pulp Fiction was because Quentin Tarantino loved this so much.
I need to be keeping a fucking list now. How many times can we reference other films in this?
Well, you have to update another tab in the spreadsheet. Reoccurring films.
We're gonna do it.
But one thing that I really love about this, and it's another thing that I think gets looked over a lot, because one of the criticisms that this always gets is about the ending and about him using the scream in the film. Because Ben said that he thought it was cold of the character, and you always hear that, like,
You know, I think it's kind of it makes him sort of an antichrist almost. Using the memory of her murder to tell a tale of two sorority sisters.
but yeah, no, it always gets criticized for the ending, and I think it's just that people don't get what the film was going for, to be honest, because I think it's really clever, because early on in the film, when he's talking to Sally in that little bar kind of place, she talks about how she's always wanted to be in the movies, and like she's always wanted to be in the film industry. And obviously, like, all through the film, Jack's motivation has been because he's caused this like horrible thing in the past. He wants to make sure that the government don't get away with covering something up, and he wants to like blow the truth out. And yeah, he wants to kind of like right that wrong that he caused before. But in doing that, he causes another wrong, and it ends with Sally being dead. So I think there's a really nice dual purpose of him using the scream, because the first part is that there's nothing else left of Sally anymore. And because there's nothing else left of Sally anymore, like the only thing that he can do so that she has some involvement in the movies is use her scream in that. So I think that's a really nice way of honoring her. But in that scream sort of existing, and like especially existing as the only thing of Sally that's left now, he hasn't got the truth out there, and he's caused another lie, because like the legacy now of Sally is that she killed the Liberty Bell Strangler. It's not that he did. So there's another lie out there. So not only has he caused another wrong, but he's also ended up contradicting the wrong that he was trying to right as well. So you've got the first purpose of him honouring Sally with the only thing that's left of her, but then you've got another layer of him using the scream and having to listen to it over and over again as a way of punishing himself. And I think that's really fucking cool.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rob. I didn't think about it of the getting into the movies part, but yeah, like
I do think it like hits really, really wobbly, because I was like, the first time watching it, I was like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
But the more we talked about it, the more I was like, no, actually, that really fucking works. Like,
yeah. I think it was probably the pacing. If we saw more of John's his character's feelings, or it had a bit more time, a minute or two, maybe more people would have got it. But I felt at the time that it was probably just due to the depression or whatnot he was in. He was in a really bad state, and like all he had left was his scream. It's like, yeah,
he was in quite a jam, wasn't he? There was a lot of space for that jam.
Yeah.
Jam.
Space Jam. Yeah.
Sorry.
and I was thinking that, bless you, kind of like the punishing himself kind of thing. I felt that he put it in the film not to just, oh, it's a great scream, let's put it in. It's more of a kind of like, I feel like absolute crap I couldn't do anything. I couldn't save anyone. And this is just going to remind me of it, so I'm going to do it. And like, so I didn't think about the in the movies part, but like you said, it's got all those elements to it. But I thought I got it.
How many elements?
Wanted more.
At least five. and the fifth was him punishing himself.
I'm gonna fucking do it. Get my list.
But yeah, no, because I really love the ending, because I think it's like I keep saying, like it's a film that rewards you for thinking about it, because I think when you first watch it, like when I first saw it, it kind of ended, and I was kind of just sat there going like, what was that? Like that just like that it just like completely pulls the rug from under you. But then if you kind of like give it the good faith to go like, okay, what actually happened there, then it just gets better and better. And yeah, I really love that.
Because I do think that was something that we all had as well, like just in that little sort of progression of us watching it. You had to have this conversation with each other. But yeah, no, it's I don't know. There's just so many layers to it working, and I think that line about her wanting to be in the movies is something that I don't know.
You forget miss.
It wasn't something that I thought was going to be as significant as it was, so I didn't necessarily pick up on it. I think that's probably why.
Yeah.
I don't know if it could be like more explicit, but I kind of like that it isn't.
Yeah, no, this is this is another thing that I really like about Brian De Palma, is because it's kind of like you could put a tagline on all of his films that's just like, this might not be for you, and that's fine. He doesn't pander to anyone. It's kind of like, if you want to like join in for the ride, then you're going to have a good time, but if you don't, then that's okay as well. And yeah, I really like that. It's kind of like do
another one. You got it.
Well, it's a reference to something else, but it's not a reference to a film, much less a film that we've had in Film Club. But it's almost like Chekhov's gun, the movie. Like literally everything has a purpose if you're willing to go and find it. And yeah, that's really cool.
We're all just no, it was really cool. The fall.
Should we do favorite scenes?
Yeah.
Who wants to start?
Scenes we'd like to see.
Pat, you just volunteered.
Shame.
I'll go with mine first.
No. Pat's made his bed. He can shit in it.
I quite like the setup for that sort of whole story to take place. So when the tire blew out, I just thought it was well put together. I know it's probably not the best actual scene from the film, but it's probably.
No, I agree with you, man. I think it's one of the best.
Yeah, I just think it's so well shot.
Yeah, I really love like John Travolta just being on the bridge and kind of, because this is another thing that I think is really cool about it, is because if you think of a film that's about a filmmaker, it's always about the writer or the director. I can't think of any film that's about a sound man. So like having the chance to just kind of like hang out with him while he's doing his like day-to-day stuff of just like standing on a bridge recording new sounds, and even like what motivates him to do it, where like the guy's like, oh, I've heard this sound 1,000 times, go and get a new one. I think that's all really cool, because that's a side of filmmaking that you don't see.
And there was another scene that I quite liked, but it was more John Travolta being cheeky.
It's not where he asks her out in the hospital, is it?
No. It's when he's getting questioned, and the bloke was like, "Are you sure that's what you heard?" And he's like, "I'm a sound guy. Of course, that's what I heard." It's kind of like how I feel at work sometimes when customers are like, Are you sure it's over there? I work here. Of course I know it's over there.
I've just got an image of you with your like bicycle building shirt on, and somebody going, "Are you sure this is a bicycle?"
Oh, my bikes.
Are you really asking me that?
Does this look like a trike to you?
I wish I had a bicycle building shirt. I just wear our normal shirts. On to you.
Emmanuel, do you want to go next?
Yeah, go on, man.
Okay. So my favorite scene actually is tied to Pat's favorite scene, ironically. It's literally the one where he's just on the bridge, pointing up at the trees and sky to get the general sound of the background wind in a setting, which done so many times. I thought, that's pretty accurate to how it really is like. Like I like that scene. Though I did have, and this is not problems with it necessarily. It's just one of those things, when you've done something before and it's done in a film, but they do it in a way you're like, that's not how it would be, or that's not how it's done. And I know that's very particular to anyone who's done sound or worked on production. And when they had, and other people probably might have noticed as well, but when they do, what's the technique when they do, is it super realism? When they make things louder or bigger than they would be in real life?
Yeah, surreal.
Yeah. And they were doing that with the sounds of the frog and everything else. And I was just like, you would hear it, but that's not how it would sound. Like, because they did the thing where in the mix, they rose the sound of the frog and then lowered everything else. I was just like, that's not how point and might work. You will hear everything.
I like the idea, like he does it in the daytime. He just points it at the sun and he can hear it crackling. And he's like, fuck it.
But to be fair, though, even that sets
Sorry, that was a
up
Sunshine reference.
Oh,
Write it down.
even that sets up the little bit though where he points it towards the couple, and the woman's like, "Oh my God, is that a peeping Tom?"
But yeah, that made sense. It was just like, I was like, huh? Whatever. It gets the point across. You can hear everything you point at, pretty much. And if a plane's going by, you gotta wait a few minutes. Because that's just the life of, I can't remember what film it was. That was it. Not this film. The film where the last film, was it the last film? The one with all the crazy crap that happened and she stole the lawn ornament.
Oh, Adam's film.
I don't feel like home in this world anymore.
Yeah, that doesn't narrow it down. Oh, yeah.
We've got another one.
Man, that was...
That
was so long.
Crazy crap that happened.
Yeah, that
the film,
this film,
this film.
The worst thing was is because you led off with, was it the last film? I was like, I do not remember a lawn ornament in Back to the Future.
Oh yeah, sorry.
The tree.
Future. But like, I don't think I mentioned it at the time, but there's a point in that where one of the characters just stands and chills while a plane goes over. And I was thinking, you know what? I think that was actually probably a real plane. The amount of times you'll be filming and like a plane will go, you're just like, yeah, we gotta stop a few minutes later. And that'll happen multiple times a day. And you're just like, I just felt like that really happened and they just decided to keep it in.
So when you're like waiting for it to go over and then it does go over, do you go like, wow, it's about time?
Oh no. Oh no.
I'm on a fucking roll now.
Plunged us to the depths of film club with that
one. You could say Alex the Great Showman.
We're going
well, I was gonna say that, like, John Travolta standing on the bridge sort of with his sound thing. He was like a conductor of some kind.
A really great showman, maybe.
Well, he kind of was in some of his other films.
What, you mean the fiction pulp film?
Oh, we done that one. We done that one.
He had a bit of a night fever.
Oh, ones that we've done, you silly.
Oh,
Well, it's not. It's a Saturday, Pat. So yeah.
Ben, you've reanimated.
yeah. I'm
my
thinking of the song,
reference.
ain't I?
Whoa! I got faith in us, guys. We can do it.
Every single.
Yeah, otherwise, we'll be falling down on ourselves there.
We've already done that one as well.
Oh.
Done that.
Can
Can
I
I,
run it out of content?
Oh yeah.
can I go next?
Yeah, go for it, man.
No.
So I'd say that my favourite scene is the bit with the scream at the end, because it's it starts the film and it's just a constant kind of plot thing that you don't really notice it, because it's just this
Fly on the
every time it goes
wall
to
sort
like
of thing.
can you get us this scream, and he's just like, no, I'm doing something. He's like, oh, and you see like it evolves, like he's trying to get someone to scream. Like you see him in the like he's casting that area, and then they're in the booth trying to do the scream, and it gets even more ridiculous. And then when you get to the end and he gets the proper scream, it kind of rounds the whole thing out, and I think that's what I like the most.
Mm. Yeah, it's an old noir convention of like ending where you began, and yeah, I really like that too. I really like that whole subplot, because like it kind of emphasizes how this job is just like a pain in the ass to him, because like he's kind of like he's obsessed with like everything that's going on with this, and like he's putting all of his time into this, and then he goes into the studio so that he can like cut the sound that he's got to these pictures that he's found, which I think is another really great scene where he's putting all that together. I really love that, partly because like you wouldn't see that now, it would all be digital. Yeah, I really love that. But yeah, like when he goes into the studio to do that, and then the guy's like, wait, listen to these screams, and it's just like, and he's like, like, yeah, I just really love that whole thing where it's just like an inconvenience to him the whole way through.
I really fucking laughed at that. It's just so well constructed. Better keep looking. Bye.
Yeah, two things. Like it shows how much the director sucks at casting. Two things. Because Camilla was pointing out the first one who screamed was actually decent, but he didn't get her in. I swear. Or she wasn't there. Like the number one scream. This is like he can't cast worth crap. But also like I was thinking in this situation. I've been there. It's just like it's an inconvenience, but it's money. So it's just like, whatever. They were saying that for a lot of the time he didn't care about his job. I was like, is he still going to be hired at the end of this? While I was watching it, I'm thinking. Anyway.
Yeah, he's kind of, you know, I like that he's sort of lost his soul for it, you know, and he's kind of got quite, you know, prideful and sort of you know, furious at it. Yeah, sorry, that was a bit tenuous.
It's
No,
almost as if he needs to go back to the start and have a training day.
Oh no, fat autocorrected. No, they autocorrected to fat, so it just says training fat.
Oh man,
Mate, I'm actually so look at this. Oh, no.
that looks like a long list.
It's a pretty. We're doing good. We're doing good. You can't see any of it. It's fine. It's fine. You're not some kind of bird man.
I've got to hand it to John Travolta though. He didn't let anyone take away his freedom.
What? No, you need to say the thing.
Freedom.
I didn't take away his brave heart.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah, but that sort of ruins the point I was making, doesn't it?
Yeah.
No,
I
I
was
was
just trying to be subtle, wasn't he? He had a bit of pride.
I've done that one already.
Do you know what? It's not my it's not my favorite scene, but I really like the shot where the camera's at the top of the room.
I can sense you're about to do that.
Oh, that was great. Yeah, the room bit was great.
I could feel it. I was like, someone's going to say The Room.
It's an
Go
easy
on.
target, that.
Do Howard the Duck, I dare you.
What's your favourite scene, Ben?
Yeah, well, Humphrey and Emmanuel mentioned one of them, which was like the setup of him just going about his day-to-day kind of work and just recording all the sounds and stuff, which was a really fantastic setup for the whole film, I thought. But in the later half of the film, I think one of the other scenes was when you first get introduced to John Lithgow, and to see how horrible or like methodical he is, which was, I thought, was quite interesting, especially his like watch gizmo. I can't remember what you call it. That you pull out
The Rottweiler.
Yeah, the wire thing, and how ruthless he is with it. But he's just so kind of like cold and just like blasé about what he does, which was why I thought he was such a good actor in this instance. And how he gets that woman in the phone booth as well, where he doesn't actually stay. Oh, come here. She's actually egging him on to come to her. So I think that's quite interesting that he doesn't pursue her. He acts the most casual, and then she is lured in by his like kind of everyman kind of mild-mannered persona, and then he goes and gets her that way.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, John Lithgow's brilliant in this, man. I think part of why he comes across as so evil is because he's got like such a baby face.
Yeah.
And like when you see that baby face doing horrible things, it's a bit like when you see Robin Williams in Insomnia. It's like, no, you're supposed to be all right. Like, why are you acting like this?
I think that's the thing. Like, he's so ruthless, but like you wouldn't look twice at him.
Yeah.
And that's. Yeah, that is kind of the scary part. So, like, considering he doesn't even have anyone supporting him, he doesn't have anyone telling him what to do. He's just ultra methodical, like blends in like so well, and he's not even got anyone to answer to. Like, that's
one thing that was kind of ironic with the fiber wire scene with it when he was killing with his when he had it in his watch, is that I've been playing Hitman for like the last few days.
I'm really glad that ended with playing Hitman.
I've been playing about with this for a few days.
Why?
I call it my Clockwork Orange.
But yeah, it obviously fiber wire is one of the mainstays or classic, I guess, it's Hitman weapons. So it was just like, oh, he's using that, and I'm playing this game where he also uses that. But anyway, it's just a random thing.
What's your scene, Alec?
In all honesty, I've been trying to do this mini game for so much that I just haven't been thinking about it.
Alex going in blind, trying to spot his film scene.
Oh, that was nice. That was very good. Sorry, I just got to write that down.
What a hero.
Whoa!
I love how this. The longer we do this, the more Emmanuel shakes his head.
Emmanuel's just going to have to dread about what's going to happen next. Our puns are only going to get more dreadful.
Oh, that was brilliant. That was a 2.
Very nice. Very nice.
I was going to say, you're going to cause an apocalypse now.
No, we're done.
What would your mother think?
Oh, shit!
What the fury? Emmanuel's in Emmanuel's face.
Oh, God.
We're doing so
Bye.
We're doing so fucking well.
It's soul destroying, isn't it?
Get at it.
I'll shut up.
I really like that.
Benson into the Antichrist.
I've done that one as well. Anyway, I've liked.
You've completely forgot what you was gonna say.
Oh fuck! The whole film now has just gone from my head. I'm just like,
Was it the film where she hit him over the head with an empty bottle?
Yeah, that was great.
I mean, I was glad for that little win at least. I was glad he deserved a lot. Well, I mean, he did. Anyway,
I think I'm sort of in the camp with Pat there. Like I do I do like how that whole opening scene is like kind of orchestrated, and like you see Carp like kind of hiding behind the bridge, and then he sort of sees someone else has jumped in, and he makes a run for it. Like it is just really, really well constructed. This is my trouble though, because I was like, man, this is a really good like film, like just kind of technically, but like there's some element of it that isn't connecting with me for whatever reason, and I heard Camilla say something.
Oh, I said the story sucks.
Oh, you're banned, Camilla. You're banned. Get out of here.
No, she's got to be the new John.
We know John would have hated it.
Yeah, John would have absolutely hated it. Yeah, no, I think that ending. I just wish that kind of ending was a little tighter. But any scene with John Lithgow in it was really, really good. I thought John Travolta was really, really good. I don't think Nancy Allen was that great.
See, I'm kind of torn on Nancy Allen, to be honest, because like I think sort of my instinct is to say that she wasn't very good, but then I'm like, well, to be fair, like she was playing a bit of a idiot. So it's kind of like, how much is it? How much is it that she wasn't acting very well, and how much is it was that she was limited?
No, I think she acted very well. That's basically what her character was supposed to be the whole time. But I think she played it perfectly.
Do you know, apparently, when John Travolta was cast in this, so like
it's John Travolta.
I wasn't sure if I'd said it or not, and then I was like, I'm just gonna carry on. But when John Travolta was cast in this, and shit, what was I saying? Oh, that was it. Yeah. So sorry. When John Travolta was cast in this, it would have been like the same level as Brad Pitt being cast in Seven, because it was like kind of like this huge star who was doing like a sort of like a darker than usual film that you'd sort of associate him with. And when John Travolta was cast, like the budget just like immediately shut up. And by the way, Ben's wearing a V for Vendetta shirt, so there's another one.
We're gonna do it, guys. We're gonna do it.
But yeah, no. So when John Travolta was cast, it was like Brad Pitt being cast in Seven, because it was like this huge star.
Or in Snatch.
Kind of, yeah. So it's this huge star who's doing a film that like you wouldn't expect from them, because it was like a bit darker and a bit grimier and whatever. And when John Travolta was cast, the budget of it just like immediately shut up. And when the budget shut up, apparently the studio tried to force Brian De Palma into casting Olivia Newton-John as that character. But apparently Brian De Palma was like, "No, you're fucking idiots. I'm not doing that."
Isn't she just a singer anyway?
Oh, that lady.
I'm not even familiar.
And I think that's the reaction that they were hoping for. Olivia Newton-John is the one who was with John Travolta in Grease.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but like I get it, but at the same time, I prefer who actually was in the film.
Yeah, but apparently, Brian De Palma was really against Nancy Allen being in it, because at the time they were married, and it would have been, I think it was like their third film together, and Brian De Palma was like, "No, I don't want to cast her, because I don't want her career to just be my projects." But John Travolta was like, "No, I really like working with her, so like let's cast her." So John Travolta pushed for her, even though it was Brian De Palma's wife.
His bride, some might say.
Yeah, you could.
That's quite interesting. It's kind of like the what's the sorry, I can't think of the film. Who made for goodness sakes.
You're thinking of Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
No, Johnny Depp, Tim Burton. Yes.
Oh, Sweeney Todd.
Oh.
Yes, really taught the fact that like they him and
him and Helena Bonham Carter is always in.
Yeah, and stuff together.
They've split up now, so I wonder if they'll still keep working.
But Tim Burton and Heather, yeah, they're not a couple anymore. They're divorced.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had divorce.
But in the past, when they kept working together, I was just like, that's quite interesting. Like you brought that up.
Did you know that she was married to Kenneth Branagh for quite a few years as well?
Did she?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I feel like she probably knew.
Yeah, she said.
Did I do that?
Who the fuck are you? You're married, darling.
I think if I was to choose a favorite scene, and like it's difficult because like I legitimately just love most of it. Like I love the opening with like the fake movie, and I love like the initial split screen where like I say, like he's kind of like giving you clues for what's going to happen later on, and like I love the bit with him on the bridge and like all of that stuff. But I think one that we haven't spoken about, which I think is a really cool scene, is after all of the tapes get erased, and you've got him in the room, kind of like scrambling through, and like so you got like the camera in the middle of the room just doing like a 360 like over and over, and as that's happening he's kind of like moving around just like panicking more and more. And yeah, I think that's really well done, because like as it's going on and on, like you kind of feel his frustration for it all, just because you've got that like monotony of the camera just spinning around while he's doing all of that. And then also as well, I found it really relatable, because I think like I don't know, I think if you've worked on something and then you've lost it, it's just like, oh man, like because I've had it before where like I've been writing something for like weeks and then something's gone wrong and like the file's corrupted or whatever and it wasn't backed up, and it's just like it just kept making me think of that feeling of like, but it's gone, but how can it be gone because I've worked on that?
Yeah,
like that's like
I've done that with Photoshop. I've been working on stuff for like hours.
Mm.
And I lose a whole stage of it because Photoshop, when I was using, was it like CS4 or something?
CS5, yeah, they're dodgy.
Or one of the fucking versions, and it'd go, nope, I'm crashed, and I'm like, fuck, I've just lost 4 hours of work, and then I just carry on. Yeah,
4 hours.
4
That's
hours.
almost as long as Love Exposure.
No, not that shit.
Oh man,
the film that ended film club for John.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good film, a really good scene, both like technically and yeah.
I like that one as well. I think it. Yeah, I think as it's getting like a little faster, you're kind of getting that frustration kind of come through, and like in his performance and that, and yeah, that was a really clever sort of way to shoot it.
Mm. Oh,
fuck is that?
We haven't finished watching Parasite. So, we was trying to finish. We was trying to watch some more of it before the call, basically.
Spoilers for my pick. That's another Parasite. That's going to be another one on your list, Alec, because that will be picked at some point.
I'm only doing ones we've already done, because otherwise we're going to do all these. If we start doing ones that might be done, then we're going to be here for fucking ever.
Yeah, but then that makes it timeless.
Rob's got 1 million, Pat's got 1 million. They always change them.
And Dan's got one.
It's what we do.
Do you know what? Like I when I saw your scores, Emmanuel, I was like, a little bit of me started worrying about like this call. I was like, oh, I really hope like people have got things to say. But I've got to say, this has been good, fellas.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least it didn't turn it into a duel of some kind.
Oh, God.
There we go again.
I thought you said jewel as in like J.
Duel.
Duel.
Oh,
A duel.
duel. Yeah. I think it is hard to. I'm gonna just pretend that this is the case, and I wasn't just thinking about something else. But like, yeah, there's a lot of strong stuff in here. Like, just as like a kind on a good on a technical level. I think it's hard to narrow it down to one scene. I think.
Yeah. I just think this is like it's kind of like what Dan was saying about Back to the Future last week. Like, I think, I don't know, like there's obviously like faults in it, and like there's things that aren't quite right and that kind of thing, but I just really love it.
So I think I don't know. I'm thinking about stuff where I think on the first go I didn't get what John Lithgow was doing, and I was like, "Fucking hell, he's a shit assassin. He keeps killing the wrong person."
Yeah, I did kind of get that. I was never thought he was doing it as like a cover up. Like when you said about it, it makes sense, but in the film it doesn't really have any context. So you think, oh, wait a minute, he's killed the woman that looks like that woman. No, he's
But then you look out for it, and I mean, he does also say it on the phone. So like, you kind of go, oh, it's so that it kind of makes it look like something that was happening along, like, just alongside it, and you wouldn't look too far into it.
Is even though oh, sorry.
No, I just thought that is fucking dead clever, and it works as a kind of a suspense sort of thing, because you're kind of going like, he's like one girl closer to killing Sally. Like, Sally's clearly, you can tell from the people he's choosing that Sally's his eventual target, and like he's whittling them down. She's gonna be, if she's not next, she's close to being next, and it's like, man, that's a nice little tool for suspense there. Like,
Lally, you're next.
So one thing that, and again, we didn't really get too much of a chance to really get into his head, which was a shame. But I was trying to figure out how much did he plan, and how much was not planned, because the first killing of the first girl, quite a public place, dragged into that place. I mean, I didn't know how he didn't get caught, but anyway, besides that, he got down there, and then it was like he didn't know. He's like, oh, what should I do? And then he's like looking around for just random stuff. Oh, Liberty Bell. Okay, let me keep looking for reference. Okay, cool. Yeah. I was just like,
I didn't really understand what that was about. If that was
I didn't know if he was trying to purposely seem like one of those people who are just randomly doing something or trying to make a statement, but did he not plan that far? I was very confused because he seemed so methodical. I was just like, this has got to be part of his plan, but then it doesn't seem like it's part of his plan. But
I guess if you just kill someone, then it doesn't look like anything. But if you just sort of if you carve an image into someone, then people were like, oh fuck, it's that guy.
Yeah,
so just to give it a bit of identity.
Yeah, and I was thinking that makes sense, but it didn't feel like he thought of that beforehand. I was kind of confused, like, wait, you thought all this through except what you're actually gonna like do when you get to this point. So just like, wait, I'm kind of confused. Or is it that you just find it so hard to keep the shape of a bell in your head, so you have to keep looking? I don't know. So I think this is a I got it. Yeah.
Well, I think the idea was because like it all culminates on the Liberty Day celebrations. So I think it's like it's another little thread in that whole thing of like distrusting of government and like the kind of the USA establishment and all of that kind of thing. I think it all kind of ties in with that.
I'm just picturing like a hard cut of these policemen going like, what the fuck is a bell? I was like, oh, it's a shit bell though, isn't it?
Bellend. Bellend. That is not a future film pick, don't worry. Otherwise, it would be falling into abyss there.
Oh dear, but yeah, I think as well, it being on Liberty Day, I was like quite like I don't even know what the fuck the significance of Liberty Day is.
Liberty Day is July the 4th, so it's like Independence.
Oh, Independence Day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotcha. Because I thought like, oh, that's kind of, I don't know. I thought that's like kind of like cool thematically. Like you have someone being, you have someone who has information about a political killing being silenced on Liberty Day. Like that's, I don't know. I think because I think that's quite cool, but like I think it would be stronger if he was actually connected, or if he was actually acting on like the commands of another party or something. But like, I guess the sentiment's still kind of there. Like he is still acting in like their interest, I guess.
Yeah, I think it goes back to that kind of like power dynamic, like I was saying before, because you've got these like elected officials who are benefiting from their association with this guy, and although they would never say like you need to go and kill this person, he's still taking it upon himself to do it to protect them. So it's kind of like, yeah, I think it's all very interesting. I think like if you look at a lot of Brian De Palma's films, like they're all like very political in that way, and it's like yeah, it's kind of cool because like if you listen to him talk about this, like I mean as the call's kind of shown, like there's so many like references to like other films in this, like there's a lot of like Hitchcock references and that kind of thing. But when he talks about his influences for making this, and I don't know if you guys know about it, but like there's another film called Blow Up, and it's basically like it's pretty much the same premise, but rather than a sound man, it's a photographer. So a photographer like captures something, and then that turns out to be like this whole conspiracy and that kind of thing.
Is there an explosion in it?
Probably. And there's there's a Francis Ford Coppola film as well called The Conversation, and that's very similar to this. It came out like a few years before. So yeah, you've got all of these like Hitchcock references, and then you've got like more obvious references to things like Blow Up and The Conversation. But if you listen to Brian De Palma talk about this, when he talks about his influences, it's things like Watergate and I can't remember who it was. Was it Teddy Roosevelt who like he was in like a similar situation to this where like he caused an accident and then like fled the scene. But yeah, it's all of these like political things that have gone on, and yeah, that's kind of cool as well. That you've got someone who's obviously like a huge fan of film and like is obviously like very passionate about making his own films and like including all this stuff, but his influences aren't those films. His influences are his like political ideologies. So I think that's really cool as well.
Yeah, I think one of the things I would have wished for, like when I was first watching the film, it was kind of two possibilities I really kind of was hoping for. Either it became a film where he got more involved with the political side of things and got so involved in that and so deeply entrenched, and it became such like this one guy is still fighting, is really fighting against this despite all the odds. And in the end, he probably comes out in some way, shape, or form. Or it ends up being a film where he gets dragged back into his old work, which is giving him that trauma, because the one of the units or people who know him is still in a unit is trying to catch this guy. He's got proof, and that's trying to bring him through, and he almost dies many times. And the girl goes through a lot of stuff, but they both make it through the end or whatever. I think I was hoping for something else maybe. And it kind of went a completely different way. I think the way it's set up, it just felt much more serious. And I'm not saying that like saving a woman from a serial killer is not serious, but a film that talks about political cover-ups and like and how women are treated and different and lots of serious topics. I was kind of hoping it was going to continue doing that because I was like, oh, it's a good premise. He's going to get wrapped up in this. He used to be in similar stuff like this. He's going to go deep in, but it didn't go that way. And fair enough, that's not the movie he wanted to make. I was just like, that would have been a really cool movie, and like it would have hit a lot of people like in places they would have been like, yeah, like we believe that could happen. Like fact is that kind of stuff has happened. But yeah.
I do like the tragedy of it though, because like you've got this guy who's like doing what he can to expose the truth of what's happened for no other reason really than that it's the truth, and he doesn't think that this government should be able to like get away with covering it up. And it's kind of like, if this is the truth, then people need to know this, and then it ends with, well, yeah, it ends with the truth not mattering anymore because it implicates him. So I quite like the tragedy of that.
He did have a bad time at the El Royale, I think. I'm sorry, none of these have been good.
Alec, you have a beautiful mind.
Ah, stop it. Sorry, yeah, no, that is that is a genuinely
That's that.
Yeah, no, that is a genuinely like interesting like aspect of the story, like how far you kind of get into it before you start kind of implicating yourself and stuff. Like,
yeah, no, but yeah, I think it's I think it's probably my favorite Brian De Palma film. I'll pick a few more, and you'll probably have even more adverse reactions to them.
As long as you don't pick Carrie.
I'm gonna pick Carrie.
As much as I really liked the character and Carrie itself, it's one of those films I just it was just too sad for me. Like I thought it was a really great film, but it's just a film I don't want to watch again. Like really don't want to watch, because it's like he goes through all this bullying, and in the end, for what?
Yeah, it's horrible, isn't it? Yeah.
She just dies. And I'm just like, I don't want to watch this story. It's just sad. It's been remade.
If you think the film's sad, read the book. It is so depressing. I felt depressed for 2 days afterwards.
I thought you meant the book of Blowout.
No, not that one.
Nah, after watching that film, like I think both versions, like did I watch? No, I didn't watch both versions, not all the way through. But after watching Carrie, I was just like, you know what? I gotta make my own version of this in my head. I don't want this in my head. It's just too sad. But anyway,
I think that's it's quite a common thing with Brian De Palma, to be honest. And I think part of the reason this is probably my favorite Brian De Palma film is because like you get a bit of everything that like makes him cool to me. Like for example, in American Psycho, I always forget which Brian De Palma film it is, but the protagonist in American Psycho says that one of his films is his favorite film because there's a scene in it where like basically something horrible happens with a drill, and he talks about that being like the reason why it's his favorite film. And it's like, yeah, you can take it on face value and you can go like, oh, that's disgusting, like, well, why would you film that kind of thing? But if you give it the benefit of the doubt to kind of like consider what Brian De Palma was getting at, then it becomes a really cool thing. And
what film?
I can't remember, it might be Body Double, but I might be wrong. Let me look.
Equally, that's kind of the thing. While you're looking for that, equally, like that is a thing about conspiracy stuff, and it's And it's like, even if, I don't know, even if you do get it out, people, there's no guarantee people are even going to like react to it. But if someone really, really doesn't want it out, then you probably aren't getting it out.
That's what she said.
And yeah, I
that's an
think
exception moment. That.
Fuck yeah. But yeah, Ben's are better than mine. But yeah, like I I was really fucking bummed out at the ending, but I was also like, that is sort of the only thing that's likely to come of this. Like either like they stop him and it doesn't get anywhere, or people just won't care anyway. Like
I think that's the thing. Like if there was if something happened at the end where like you could have gone, oh yeah, that was all worth it, then I think that would have been a bit of a cop out. And I also think if you're going to go for like a tragic ending, I don't think you could have done it in a better way, because I think anything else would have come across like probably like a little bit ponderous. I think the way that they've done it, like on first viewing, you get that kind of like, oh, what? And then, yeah, the more you think about it, the more you kind of realize how sad it is. And it's just it's a really nice economy of storytelling, I think.
Yeah. Like, oh, sorry.
Oh, we're like synchronously polite. Go for it.
I think, yeah, having a sad ending, it's all right. I think I just would have preferred it done in a different way, and maybe just a bit of a kind of more kind of smartly written way. Kind of I don't know how to explain it, but a way that doesn't pander to certain kind of cliches. And like, you can still have a very similar ending, but have it in a different way where it's just like, oh, that was done so well. It's really sad, but yeah.
See, I think like the layers like behind it that like Rob was talking about, like I think that does kind of make it cleverly like done. And I don't know. I think it's kind of like a more adult way of doing it, because if he did succeed and everyone was like, whoa, like I don't think that is I don't feel like that would be like kind of as true to like what it is to be like, I don't want to just call him a conspiracy theorist, but like
yeah, I'm not sure what a word is for a conspiracy theorist who's right.
I think that's the thing, like, because I don't know if it's just because we're British, where I'm just like complete like, well, this a scandal's happened, and it's like, wow, yeah, no worries, like no one really gives a fuck. Boris Johnson's got another kid, and I'm like, oh wow, that's his career over. Oh, it's not actually, like
Little Johnson.
But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't. I'm not sure I'd want to argue that it's not cleverly done. Like I think the whole, someone with evidence being silenced on Liberty Day, by like someone who isn't even connected to a party. Like I think that's really cool. I think her wanting to be in the movies and, Jack's got her killed, and that's the only way he can honor her. I think that's really cool. Like I wouldn't want to say it's not cleverly written. I don't know if this is just like a word choice thing.
I think it's like it for me, it does everything that you'd really want an ending to do, because you get that initial reaction of like, whoa, what's going on? And then, like I said, like if you give it the benefit of the doubt to like sit and think about it for a bit, like it gives you something to go away and sort of like mull over a bit. And yeah, like it's not a film that encourages you to forget it easily. And I think that's
I wish Jack was smarter. But because I think if he was smarter and still lost it, then that would have kind of meant more. I don't know if that's possibly what Emmanuel's getting at more, but
Oh no,
No?
it was more like it was. Don't get me wrong, it was really cool how all the kind of references to all the little things in the background. I think it was, and maybe it's just the different styles of writing I prefer, and I don't necessarily have a name to this, but he had a lot of different threads. And if he had balanced it right, he could have had all these threads coalesce to a point where they almost succeed. They almost get to that news station, but right at the end, they fail, and it was all for nothing. She dies, and this killer who's really freaking smart, he also ends up dead, but it doesn't mean anything. But instead of all kind of building up and building up and building up, it felt kind of like a kind of build up tense. Wait, what's happening? Wait, madness, huh? Oh, tense, wait, huh? It was a roller coaster, and I think maybe it's because I would prefer in that particular film to be this like just keep building and building and building to that point where you think maybe he might succeed, and then no, he doesn't. And in the end, it's more maybe he might save her, but he doesn't. And maybe I wanted like more threads to be on the line, if that makes sense. And it was. It's just in a different way. Because again, the tape got thrown. That was on the line, and then her life was on the line. But I think it's just the way it was done. It's just it's not my preference, but I get it.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Like, I think if you're kind of like looking for it to go somewhere, like as in for him to kind of succeed or whatever, then yeah, I get what you're saying. I think for me, it's like I don't know if it's because maybe like I kind of like have the similar cynicism of government to Brian De Palma, that like from the very start it's kind of like this is there's no point to this, like you're doing the morally right thing, but this is never going to go anywhere. So I think I'm kind of looking at it from a perspective of like this was never going to go anywhere, so I'm kind of like plugging into the sadness of that more than the hope that they might succeed.
Because like it is quite a long sort of descent, really, because as soon as she like goes with him into the underground, I was like, oh, she's just fucking dead, like there's he's not catching up to her.
Don't trust babyface Lithgow.
And I guess that's all in service to Jack, because he's reliving like that thing again where he can't say, like someone's counting on him and he can't save him time.
Can't save him. Could save him.
Yeah, but and it's like, this would be stronger if you were smarter and did the smarter thing. Sorry.
Yeah. Going back to what you said, Rob, about what do you call it? There's no point in this. Like
Babyface Lithgow
don't go anywhere. That's how I felt at first. But because the film went on that point for so long, or not the film, or I guess the film, but Jack, he was so persistent, and he was actually making some kind of progress. He was getting contacted by people. I was like, okay, even if it gets shot down, which is most likely going to happen, at least he's got it out there. Because the fact is, he didn't even get anything out there. By the time he got something together, because he wants to be the best proof possible, the most reliable proof possible, it then doesn't get out there and it all goes nowhere. And I was just like, it's kind of weird. It's like it got my hopes up to go somewhere and then didn't go anywhere after I didn't think it was going to go anywhere in the first place. So I was just like,
I think that's a compliment to it, man.
All of that.
Oh no, I think that's a compliment to it if it managed to do that.
Wow, I feel stronger in my view on this. Like, I think I was struggling to kind of put a finger on why it was kind of missing me. But I'm glad we had this little chat, and I feel more secure in this. So thanks everybody. It's all about me. Anything else anyone wants to say?
I think that's all good.
It's good.
And
Oh yeah. Sorry. One more random
Fantastic.
thing, and maybe someone can explain this because I was very confused. The pimp guy. Why was he living the way he was when
Why didn't he have a ceiling so that Brian De Palma could film him?
Wait, what? A ceiling?
Yeah, because you need a shot where the camera's like facing down into the room.
Oh. Oh man, no. But like, why was he living that way when? And this is it was interesting. He didn't pander to this stereotype, which fair enough. But I was like, this guy has a decent amount of money. Why is he living in a dive? He didn't have any decent clothes. Where was
I was waiting for it.
Yeah, but that shoes
He
on.
needed a good pair of outdoor shoes.
Yeah.
So in this rogues gallery of Emmanuel's problems, we're just gonna have to hang this guy's vest now.
he didn't commute anywhere.
You're always just shitting on what people are wearing.
But like, where was his money going? He wasn't he didn't have expensive alcohol, cigarettes. He wasn't into drugs. His clothes were trash. His place was trash.
He did have an expensive camera though.
Yeah, the camera. And
I'll be honest, I'm looking forward to 2023, Emmanuel, because last year it was the commuting thing. This year it's clothes. What will next year bring?
I was a little bit disappointed. I was like, Emmanuel didn't have a funny problem. And I was like, there it
is. But this all leads into it. So I'm thinking, okay, this guy, he's hiding some of the money from the girl. That's a very common thing. But where is he putting it? Like, if he was someone who didn't care about how he lived or like money and stuff, then he wouldn't hide it from her. But since he's hiding it, he must be trying to do something with it. But what is he doing with the money?
So he doesn't lose it in the divorce.
What divorce?
I'm just making a joke.
What are you talking about?
That was just a random thing. I just didn't. I was trying to say, can someone help me make sense of this? I don't understand. Like, what's going on?
Oh man, if you, I'm worried about my next couple of picks. If you pick that up.
You could say it's an omen.
That was a good one. Yeah, cool. That's it.
Still fucking cranking them out there. I love it. Oh God. I don't have a rebuttal for that.
Fucking hell, it's the end of days.
Yes.
Oh man, that film. It was all right. It was all right.
I was trying to remember what the name of it was for the last hour.
It was your pick as well.
I know.
Oh, you great Big Lebowski. I did it.
That's your opinion, man.
Oh God.
You know
Yeah,
what?
I don't have any rebuttal for that.
You know what it is? It's about time to finish.
Oh dear.
I've already done about time. You wasted that.
Oh,
Should be listening.
what?
Listening.
Oh.
It's not like you're in Bruges, is it?
Oh.
We just need to do like a big fucking just lightning round here. Just
You big fish.
Oh, it's midnight, Cowboys.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, I just want to do a lame one. Just like, yeah, the moon's out.
Yeah, well, I don't know how we're going to fit like the fundamentals of caring in it.
No problem with that one. I've been wondering how to do Seven Samurai.
Oh man.
Oh.
I wonder if we got most of them. Hang on, I'm going to count.
I think it's just like Austin Powers or something left now.
You know, I think it's time to go to Brighton so I can get a rock.
Well, you need to see the next film by Dwayne Johnson, aka The Rock.
Yeah,
I like that one because that was completely useless.
One thing I always wonder about. One thing I always wonder about The Rock is whether he has a contract clause to be in the jungle all the time.
I dread to see that.
Contract clause.
Oh god.
Oh, it's hurting Emmanuel's soul. I love it. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. We did 60.
That's not bad. That's like 75%.
Pretty fucking sizable, I think.
Daniel.
I think we should stick this chat on the wall. E.
We should have double teamed that. You should have said that, and I could have gone on the wall. He said.
So what
You say you took before.
Yeah.
That's done. I don't care anymore.
I don't know how we're going to fit the Holy Grail in now. I think we've got a way.
Oh, nice.
Oh, you rescued us from the jaws of despair.
I think Alex is in the need of an exorcism.
Oh, nice. I love it. We're nearly there.
Yeah.
We're in trouble though, because no one's going to fucking remember Bill and Ted, so they're not going to reference it.
What an excellent adventure.
Yeah, indeed it was.
Lovely.
It's time to unplug from the Matrix.
I think that's enough now.
Humphrey's pulling a Blade Runner.
No, I'm living in a cabin in the woods.
Ooh, nice one.
Cool. Right, Ben, what's your film?
Well, actually, this is quite important. Not unlike the Big Wicker Man, because we're doing. Yeah, I don't know if Rob wants to take the wheel on this one.
So this is the first of our new feature. So Ben's doing our first double bill of the year, as he's got the round one choice, which is a point actually. Before we do that, Emmanuel, on your double bill, do you want it to be during foreign film round, or would you rather have it during a normal round?
It's going to be a foreign film round anyway. Whatever he thinks is going to be.
Normal round, because one of the ones I was thinking is, normal round.
Right, sweet man.
That would be cool though.
It's going to be a film.
Emmanuel's just like, foreign film round, this is my domain.
I think I might get a worse film in foreign film round.
Oh, really? That's exciting.
Yeah, it's something.
Oh, you're gonna pick a bad one on purpose?
Well,
all of us. A bad one. I don't know what that is. Yeah. I don't know, but I kind of know what I'm going to pick. It's quite controversial, so.
Sounds like you got quite a galaxy quest ahead of you.
Oh,
Ben, what's your films?
So I thought I'd pick ones that some films that I've loved for like since forever, and I was toying with the idea to like me and Rob were thinking of doing this like over a year ago to do 2 of these back to back as a double feature kind of thing. And the first is Ed Wood, directed by Tim Burton, starring Johnny Depp, about the real life Edward D. Wood Jr., who's the man who plays. He was the director who did Plan 9 from Outer Space, and then he was notorious for being the worst movie director of all time.
I can see that.
So it's a drama.
You get out of here, Pat. Yeah,
It's a drama.
Go on, get on your train to Busan.
Yeah, get out. Another fish pick, but yeah. So yeah, Ed Wood is the first of the 2, and then a year after that, Tim Burton decides to do another film, which was basically his version of a Ed Wood movie, but with a bigger budget, which is Mars Attacks. So you'll see the parallels between the 2 movies in terms of like style, tone, and mood, and how that too. How they kind of like complement each other is like
all right, Humphrey, settle down.
This is going to be another Humphrey orgasmic sound.
Yes.
What did he say?
They go whoosh.
Last week.
Yeah, there's a lot of like
Whoosh, you were here.
Oh.
I'm so gutted that you've picked Edward, because I really wanted to pick Edward, but I'm very happy that it's been picked.
Saying like I was Train to Busan. So
yeah.
Rob has escaped a bad score from me.
I thought you was going to do a reference and then you didn't.
Well, I think you should be nicer to me. Sorry, Emmanuel's been trying to say something.
I was just asking, so to just confirm, the films after Ben, our next picks will be 2 films at once.
No, we're doing one around. So after Ben's double bill, I think it's Pat and then you, but that's just single. And then next round, I've got the double bill. And yeah, we'll do it on like a rotation.
So 1 person each month, basically.
Yeah.
So is it we have to watch 2 films for next month?
Otherwise, it would have been like 12 films per round, which
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. But cool.
I mean,
that makes sense.
We came to that when John was still here.
Well, I don't think John would have watched 1 film per round, so maybe
Yeah, John didn't watch one film per round for like 2 months.
That was the reason why we decided not to do it each week.
Yeah, but I quite like doing it like this. Yeah. I think it's like a nice little special feature every round, isn't it?
We can do it each year.
Yeah. So yeah.
2 films.
Thank you.
So when we doing next week's call, are we doing Saturday again?
Yes, please.
So
yeah, please.
Yeah, I can do Saturday. But yeah, so we're watching Edward and Mars Attacks by next Saturday.
By Mr. Tim Burton.
By Mr. Tim Burton. And the films that we didn't get to make a reference for were The Truman Show, Pan's Labyrinth, The Lighthouse, Gremlins. No, we did really fucking good. I'm sorry.
Actually,
Judge Dredd.
Ben referenced Gremlins and nobody picked up on it because he mentioned Gizmo.
You're supposed to say Gremlins.
Oh, we've said it now, so there we go.
Well, he referenced
Klansman, The Martian, Con Air.
To be fair, I don't know how we were going to get Black Klansman in.
Yeah.
And Tick Tick Boom. Those are the only ones we didn't get.
Well, we mentioned explosions, which is boom, so there we go. It works.
It had an explosion in it. Yeah, but that's okay.
Right, okay.
Cool. We shall see you all next Saturday then.
Adios.
I'll see you later.
See ya.
Bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.